parenting. It's one of life's great joys and great responsibilities. For each tear of happiness, there can be a tear of heartache. Not everyone is up to the job.
Looks like you're going to be lonely and childless.
Regina! We need to talk!
In London, England in 2007,
Ready?
Graham Boyne is doing his best to raise his two children.
Oh, that one's gone. Get a ball.
He was very, very fond of the children. He loved them dearly.
But his young wife, Maria, doesn't share his commitment.
Maria was a very flighty mother. She didn't really care about her children enough to be around for them.
She was very much her own person, and if she wanted to do something, she would do it.
Often she'd disappear for hours on end and no one would know where she was.
So I'm off to Spain.
I've always wanted to see Spain.
You should come with me.
Certainly had a magnetic attraction to men. One couldn't deny her that.
She can't. She's busy.
And she knew it, and she took full advantage of it.
I'd love to.
Maria spends more and more time away from Graham and the children.
Where's my birthday girl? There she is.
She often wasn't there for her kids. She even missed their birthdays.
Look what I have for you! A present!
His parents often pick up the slack.
Maria's a no-show.
What, again?
Who wants a drink?
Me too. And lollies.
And it became clear that she was having affairs all over the place behind Graham's back.
And they lived happily ever after.
Graham steels himself to his wife's affairs and her indifference to motherhood.
One more time, Daddy, please.
He loves her too much.
One time.
Just one more, and then it's bed, right?
He still wanted to try to keep that marriage together.
Go on. Listen up this time. Yeah. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away.
Living the life of footloose, single woman, Maria only plays mom when she wants to.
Mummy! My babies.
She was manipulative. She was controlling. I don't think she respected him at all. He didn't assert himself. He didn't put his foot down.
He'd immediately forgive her, seemed to give her the fuel to go and do it all over again.
Maria seems happiest away from her children. But in Bar City, Vermont in 2015, mother Jody Herring is in the opposite situation. She's lost 2 of her children to the state and is desperately trying to keep custody of her youngest daughter.
Oh, wow. How's the family portrait going? Oh, sweetie, I'm so very lucky to have you.
It was neglect. The state didn't feel like she was a suitable parent for them.
I'm just gonna put this over here.
Court systems don't take children away from their mothers unless there is a very, very compelling reason.
This daughter was her life. She did everything she could for that child, much more than she did for her prior children.
Things are looking up when Jody finds Mr. Right. Sporting shooter Henry Vermont.
You'd be such a good shot.
Yeah, you better not get on my wrong side.
Henry would take Jody shooting, and he said that she was an amazing shot. She was a natural.
I should get you your own.
Yeah, heck yeah. Thanks, babe. You want a beer?
Not this hour.
It's never too early for a drink.
You're a ton of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Her new boyfriend invited her to move in.
All right, whose go is it? Yours.
Go.
Go. Roll away.
Best of all, her daughter likes him.
Right, my turn. Oh.
But someone else moves in too. Jody's old friend, the bottle.
I need to top up.
Jody used alcohol and opiates to make herself feel better. She suffered from depression and severe anxiety.
Come on, babe, dance with me.
Let's go to bed. Come on. I think you've had enough.
Jody's addictions have already cost her dearly.
She already had 2 children taken away, and there was a possibility of having a third taken away.
Hey, hon, let me get you back to bed.
She's such a little treasure, isn't she?
Jody's elderly aunt, Julianne Felzerano, and cousins Regina and Rhonda are there to pick up the pieces.
Have something.
Stop worrying about me.
I do worry about you. Both of you.
Jody's 2 cousins and aunt were very supportive of her.
I can take care of my daughter, all right?
Well, I know that, huh? But it couldn't stop me worrying about you.
But they were also very concerned for her 9-year-old daughter.
I'm just gonna go. Sweetie, come in. We're going.
She can always stay here if it makes
No!
Because Jody just wasn't able to come through.
And our focus today is men with unsuccessful plastic surgery.
Jody. Jody,
Hey, babe.
we need to talk.
Before long, Henry realizes what Jody's family already knows.
Hey, hon, go get your bag ready for school.
Her drinking got so bad to the point that he essentially just kicked her out and said, I can't deal with you like this anymore.
Had it, Jody. Can't do this anymore. Let it go.
Jody couldn't hold a job. She couldn't hold a man. And she couldn't hold her kids.
You need help. More than I can give you.
Damn you!
Sorry.
Her life was a mess.
Alone with her daughter again, Jody checks out.
Jody tried to commit suicide by overdosing on medication.
Hi, it's Rhonda Herring. I'd like to request a welfare check.
Hey, sweetie. Is your mom home? Yeah, she's sleeping. Do you want to show me where she is?
The paramedics ended up finding her essentially passed out in a room full of candles and pill bottles.
Miss Herring! Miss Herring! Can you hear me?
For authorities, it's the last straw. Jody loses her 3rd child.
The last positive thing in her life, to have that taken away, she had nothing. She really had nothing else in life.
While Jody is devastated at losing her daughter, in London, England, Maria Boyne wants a life free of her children and husband.
She's taken everything.
This time, it looks like Maria's left for good.
Think she's gonna come back this time? Who knows?
Maria wants a clean break, so she decides to tidy up some loose ends. On April 24th, 2000, she arranges to meet her husband, Graham. He's still hoping they will get back together.
I want to talk about us. About getting back together.
I don't know, Maria.
Have a drink with me.
Maria persuaded Graham to have a drink, and they sat down and began talking about the possibility of reconciling their marriage.
To new beginnings.
He was perhaps a little naive, unworldly, trusting.
It's like throwing a rope to a drowning man.
Just saying this made Graham hope there was a chance of mending it all. Maria lured Graham up to their bedroom under the pretext that she was prepared to have sex with him. Maria basically had him exactly where she wanted him.
She wanted to be rid of him. When I use the phrase rid of him, it was a question of seeing him off this planet.
It was a frantic attack. She plunged those knives into his body 31 times. She looked down at his naked body and snatched the gold chain from around his neck.
Maria pawns his gold chain to pay for a romantic getaway with her latest lover.
That was used to fund their accommodation at the bed and breakfast.
Hi, how can I help you?
Your best room for the night, please.
Sure, that'll be £110. Oh, thank you.
Their behavior was not guilt or remorse, but quite the opposite. It was laughing and carefree.
Maria no longer wants her family, but she does want the family house.
She wanted a house, and she could only do that if her husband was not present.
In Bar City, Vermont, 2015, Jody Herring has lost her third child to the state. She's been declared an unfit parent, and her case is assigned to social worker Lara Sobel.
Beautiful day out there, isn't it? Come on, take a seat.
Lara was very kind and compassionate. That's why she was in that business.
That's one of my girls.
She tried to be a support for her. She was talking about how, I'm here for you, we're gonna get you through this.
Okay, so how have you been?
How do you think I've been? You took my child from me.
Jody, we really need to get you back on your feet.
Give me my daughter back.
But Jody isn't taking it well.
Okay, it's not helping.
She's blaming everyone but herself.
Pick up, pick up.
Her aunts and her cousins are the ones that notified emergency services, but Jody wasn't thankful they saved her life. She was angry at them.
Hi, you've reached Rhonda, Regina, and Julianne. Please leave a message and we'll call you right back.
You're all traitors, all of you.
She believed they triggered the DCF investigation into her daughter.
I'm gonna make you regret this.
Jody, please, we care about...
Jody wasn't a big person. Jody wasn't one to look at herself.
On the morning of August 7th, 2015, Jody sneaks into her ex's home and steals a high-powered hunting rifle.
Considering Jody's background of violent outbursts, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, never in a million years should she be near a firearm.
Rhonda! Regina! Julianne! We need to talk!
It is meant for hunting deer, elk, moose.
Jody! Jody, no! No, put the gun down! No! Put the gun down!
A high-velocity round to a human body causes massive destruction, and there's virtually no way to survive it.
Regina, where are you?
I can't imagine the fear they must have felt knowing their life was about to be ended by the crazy, angry cousin Jody.
Regina hears the large gunshot blast. Then she hears the footsteps on the stairs.
Jody, no! Please! Please, no! Jody, no! Ah!
And she shoots her twice in the torso.
Aunt Julianne lies helpless in her sickbed.
Jody, no! No! This is for taking my kids away! No, Jody, please! Jody, please!
She got her right in the chest.
This triple murder happened because of Jody's complete failure to ever take responsibility for her own behavior.
But taking 3 lives isn't enough. Social worker Lara Sobel has just finished work at her Bar City office.
Lara was on the phone with her 9-year-old at the time, and her child was asking her, when are you gonna come home?
When Lara looked up and saw Jody pointing a high-powered rifle at her, she must have been terrified, particularly since she was talking to her own daughter.
You ruined my life! Jody, you deserve this!
For the rest of that little girl's life, she has to deal with the fact that she heard her mother being murdered.
Jody walks up and fires one more time.
You had it coming.
By the time Jody put down the gun, she was spent. She wasn't angry anymore. She didn't try to run away. Her job was done.
In 2017, Jody Herring pleads guilty to 1 count of first-degree murder and 3 counts of second-degree murder. Her punishment, life behind bars. No chance of parole.
Jody has never taken responsibility for what she did. The closest she came to showing any remorse was to say, I wish I could take back that day, but I can't. I handle stress different than anyone else. Actually, a lot of people have problems with stress and depression, and they don't commit mass murder.
Jody's terrible rampage means she will never get her children back. And in London, Maria Boyne's desire to start anew doesn't work out either.
Graham. Maria knew full well that Graham's father would be visiting the house. Graham. You can imagine the shock when he found his son with those numerous knife wounds, naked in the matrimonial bed.
Maria's life with her new lover is short-lived. The police soon discover she is seen leaving the house on the night of the murder. At first, she comes up with a crazy story about an intruder.
Maria claimed that 1 o'clock in the morning, there was a knock on the door. An unknown man presented himself. He was wielding a knife. He went upstairs, murdered her husband. It became woefully clear, painfully clear, that it was not going to stand up in court, or indeed anywhere else.
So she changes her story and blames her boyfriend. But no one buys that either.
With regard to motive, in this particular case, the overriding motive seemed to be gain.
In 2009, Maria Boyne is convicted of murder. She's sentenced to 36 years behind bars and is eligible for parole in 2033.
From first to last, she showed not one jot of remorse, not one.
Maria could never accept her responsibility as a mother. She not only abandons her children, she steals the life of their father.
Give me a bowl. Their father was dead and their mother had gone to jail for 24 years.
She effectively orphaned her 2 children. Maria was devious, she was cunning, she was dishonest, and she murdered for gain.
Motherhood, the heart of family and society. It's an unassailable good, beyond reproach.
Who did that?
Most of the time. The maternal instinct is a blade with a double edge. One to care and protect, and one to punish.
Mom, when can I have a baby?
Not for a long time.
From an early age, Carranza dreams of having a baby.
There's a burning desire for her to have children.
There'll be plenty of time for that. First, you have to study real hard, get a career.
And her mother basically told her, oh, don't be so silly. You're a smart girl. You need to get your education.
20 years later, the little girl with maternal dreams does have a university education, but she's not using it. Instead, in 2005, the 26-year-old moves to Vienna, Austria, to open an ice cream parlor. And she still has a passion for children.
Hello, come on in. The rainbow one? What about chocolate? No? This one? Yeah?
Esti never lost this childhood obsession with babies. And if anything, it snowballed as she grew up.
Come see me again soon.
Thank you, goodbye.
Okay, bye.
Then the opportunity she's been waiting for, a husband. Holger Holtz, 14 years her senior.
So many kids. Wouldn't it be great if we had one of our own?
Soon, my love, soon.
Esti and Holger were married only 2 to 3 weeks after they met. Finally, Esti was going to become a mom, or so she thought.
Get back to it.
But Esti might have benefited from a little less haste and a little more research. Holger's passions turn out to be not as a father, but as a follower of Hare Krishna.
He was obsessed with his religion and obsessed with his spirituality at the expense, she says, of her and their relationship.
Esti is forced to compete with more earthly temptations.
She tried everything. She wore stiletto heels. She wore short, tight skirts, a push-up bra, anything to try to turn him on to get him down to business.
That's how it is.
I thought we could spend the night in, just the two of us.
I have a meeting at the temple tonight.
You've always got a meeting. How will we ever start a family?
We will.
When?
Soon. I got to get changed.
Holger told her, hey, there's other things more important than sex. Yes, there are, and one of them was becoming a mother. That's what she wanted.
Maternal instinct is not easily dismissed. Thwart it at your peril. But if baby does arrive, there's a new set of challenges. Keeping together an entire family. 22-year-old divorcee Sandy Nees has 3 children. Now she has a new husband.
She seemed to be a woman who was always looking for a man in order to be able to support her and her children.
Sandy wastes no time expanding her family with 36-year-old David Folden.
She had 2 more daughters with him.
She's sound asleep. I mean, how would you feel if I adopted the other kids?
Really?
Yeah. I love them like they're my own.
When he married Sandy, he adopted her 3 children from her first marriage.
To the outside world, Sandy appears to be the perfect mother.
Oh!
Their children were very well behaved. They were well mannered. They were always immaculately turned out.
David's roll. He's on your team.
Model kids that you'd like to have as your own.
There's just one problem.
We want David! We want David! We want David!
Who did that?
Come on, it was just an accident.
Tell me who did it, or you'll all be blamed.
That's enough, Sandy. Sandy, that's enough.
Dare you? You do not interfere with
They were very controlled,
my children.
Don't talk to the kids like that.
very, very obedient.
You're the one that's always talking over me. These are my children.
They're my children, too.
Almost like little soldiers.
No, they are not.
You are acting crazy and controlling. The kids
She was very controlling, and Sandy got what she wanted.
This is not what David wants. After 8 years of marriage, he tires of Sandy's tough love.
They got a divorce. The marriage didn't last.
Esti Carranza is also heading for the divorce courts. She married Holger to start a family, but he fails to deliver. The natural beauty wastes no time finding a new mate. She starts an affair with salesman Manfred Hinterberger.
He was intensely charismatic, as many salesmen are.
I missed you.
Oh my God, you look so gorgeous. How much longer do we have to sneak around like this?
Come on.
Manfred convinced her that they could have the life that she wanted.
Esti dreamed of marrying Manfred after the divorce and starting a family.
Esti and Holger are estranged, but agree to live under the same roof until Esti finds her feet.
So here are two people with all sorts of animosity towards each other, living in the same house.
Esti can't wait to move out and start afresh with her new love. But will family life really be her salvation? It's not quite turning out that way for Sandy Nees. She's a single mom with 5 children. She needs help, emotionally and financially.
Sandy was the kind of woman who seemed to always need a man in her life.
Online, she meets Scott, 9 years her junior.
Even though they weren't married, he was helping support her and her kids.
You know my kids love you.
Sandy now has 2 ex-husbands and a boyfriend paying her bills.
Yeah, they're cute.
But Scott is in no hurry to become husband number 3.
She wanted to get married, and he didn't.
But I'm not ready to be a dad.
The relationship was tumultuous. It was on again, off again. And he dumped her.
The affair only adds to Sandy's problems.
What was really devastating to Sandy was that he not only dumped her, but he left her pregnant. And she realized that she could not care for a 6th child on her own.
Can you please call me? We need to talk.
So she had an abortion.
Sandy has too many children to handle, while Esti Carranza has too few. She's still waiting for her first, and now pinning hopes on her new lover, Manfred Hinterberger.
But that didn't go the way she wanted either. He left her.
Left her for another woman, moved out of town, and he was gone.
And just like that, Esti is back to square one and living with her ex.
Looks like you're going to be lonely and childless.
He said the cruelest things possible, that she was never going to find a man to love her and have a family. She snapped.
She took a gun, walked up to the computer. He was facing away from her, and she fired 3 times into the back of his head.
She blew his brains out.
Esti has planned for motherhood, but not for murder. In desperation, she turns to schnapps.
She thought he'd completely disintegrate.
Essentially, it just went out, and he was singed and a little stinky.
She told inquiring neighbors that the bad odor was from her cooking fish.
Time for Plan B.
She went out and bought a chainsaw. And she came home and started cutting up his body. Now, this was a real mess. She cut him up into fairly neat pieces. She put him in all these little garbage bags.
She disguises the remains as ice cream. And a passing stranger even helps Esti move the buckets to the parlor basement.
Oh, let me get that for you.
Oh, really?
No, it's fine. Let me get it.
Thank you.
She really did have a way with men.
Just in the corner.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
No problem. Have a nice day.
Esti adds cement to stop decomposition.
No one's caught her. She doesn't think anyone ever will. So she set out on her main objective, find another man to father a child.
Motherly instinct almost always makes things better. But sometimes it can flip. It turns Esti Carranza into a killer and takes Sandy Nees down the darkest road imaginable.
Sandy received papers notifying her that her second husband had reversed his adoption of her 3 older children. Sandy will potentially see a big drop in her child support payments.
I think it pushed her over the brink.
June 30th, 1998, Saugus, California.
Okay, settle down. Got your favorite.
Just days after 34-year-old Sandy Nees has an abortion.
One over there.
She promises her 5 children a special treat.
They were going to have a slumber party.
They were having a party to watch television, watch movies, and have popcorn.
It was the first time the children ever had a slumber party together in the house.
Sandy wants to hurt the men in her life through their children.
After the movie was over, the children settled down to sleep.
She had poured gasoline on certain spots in the house.
1.5 gallons of gas were used.
A giver of life becomes the taker.
She was angry. She was a woman scorned. She was going to take the things that they cared for the most, which was the children.
I'm going to have the last word and take everything from you.
Sandy doesn't need a flame to kill her children. The smoke will do it. As the girls start to suffocate, one begs her mom for help.
Mom, I need to go to the toilet. I feel sick.
As she needed to go throw up.
Well, throw up on the floor.
Sandy said no. Stay where you are and just throw up on the floor.
Put your head under the blanket.
She told the children to keep breathing into their blankets.
These children were so controlled by her and so obedient, they just took that as, okay, mommy knows best.
By morning, the 4 young girls are dead. Sandy and her only son survive.
These little girls look so innocent, but yet, you know, they were lifeless.
It looks like a family tragedy until her former husbands come forward with letters they've received from Sandy.
She was very angry. She wrote letters letting those men know exactly how she felt. She wrote a letter to her second husband. It was full of bitterness. And at one point in the letter, she wrote, "Now you don't have to support any of us anymore, you scum."
From tragedy to a new start. At least that's how it appears when Esti Carranza's lover returns.
Sorry, we're closed.
Manfred returned. And he begged her to take him in.
I made a mistake. I'm sorry, and I love you. And I'm ready to have a family now.
Really?
I promise.
She took him back. But the eternal bliss machine didn't last too long.
After a year, motherhood remains a distant dream for Esti. Her lover seems more interested in others.
Manfred and Esti had been out for a meal and he flirted with another lady. She had suspicions that he was seeing other women.
You sure you don't want one?
Don't touch me.
Oh, what's the matter with you?
You were flirting with that woman all night.
Just being friendly.
Yeah, you were real friendly.
Maybe I'll have a baby with her.
She was furious. She just couldn't trust him anymore.
She wanted to talk about it.
Hey.
And he said, no, you're ridiculous. Esti's solution to a problem with a guy was that he die.
Esti reached under the mattress and took out the Beretta, the same gun she'd used to murder her ex-husband. Pulled the trigger 4 times.
By November 2010, Esti has quite the collection of ice cream buckets. Until a broken pipe brings plumbers into the store's basement.
They went down there and they smelled something nasty.
Don't touch it. Don't touch anything.
One of them turned over a pot, cracked it open, and got the surprise of his life.
The workmen were stunned to discover the body parts encased in concrete.
Esti figured out she was probably in quite a bit of trouble and took off.
She flees to Italy, one step ahead of the law.
Get off me!
But not for long.
Esti!
She was found 2 days later in Italy, shacked up with a street minstrel.
In 2012, Esti Carranza pleads guilty to 2 counts of murder. She is sentenced to life in a maximum security psychiatric prison.
Esti is exactly where she needs to be, away from all the other men in the world.
There will be one final twist. Heading for life in prison, Esti is given a medical examination.
Lo and behold, she was pregnant.
Esti's one wish, to be a mother, finally comes true. but not how she imagined.
Esti had her baby, but she was never allowed to raise it.
Sandy Nees will not escape her actions either, after killing 4 of her 5 children. The letters to her exes and the smoldering family home reveal a cache of evidence against her.
Everything that we found in the initial stage of the investigation led to her.
In April 2000, Sandy goes on trial. She has one last terrible act.
She pointed the finger at David. If it wasn't bad enough that we knew this woman had deliberately tried to murder her kids by fire, now she was going to try and save herself by pinning it on her one surviving son.
The jury doesn't buy her story. Sandy Nees is convicted on all counts and sentenced to death. In 2021, the California Supreme Court reversed the death penalty to life behind bars.
These were little girls. One of them was 5 or 6 years old. The oldest girl that died was 12. They were just beginning life. It still bothers me every day because you just can't get them out of your mind. It's devastating.